have we learned nothing? Because the whole point of history is to make sure that we don't repeat ourselves. It's to make sure that we do better. And if this was a test, that we immensely failed.
Concentrated disadvantage.
Each generation bears a responsibility to provide leadership.
It's certainly a new generation taking part in this movement, but I believe that the movement's message is relatively the same. That the state-sanctioned killing of Black and Indigenous people will not be tolerated.
The older generation are sitting in the seats of power to make the change. My generation can translate the change. The younger generation needs to be the change.
They killed a Black man on camera and told us to our faces it might have been pre-existing conditions. I am Black and I am angry from pre-existing conditions.
Off my neck! Off my neck! Off my neck! George Floyd! George Floyd!
Justice! 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 Giselle Ford!
Justice!
Change is going to happen in America, and it will begin right here in Nassau County.
And we are therefore forever indebted to those Americans represented by the March on Washington movement for giving us so stunning an example of what America aspires to become.
What do you think of this new generation of young Black social activists?
King had his day. Before King, there was Malcolm X. Each generation, we will see those who will make a difference. We did see an increase of young people registering and voting. It's not the bullet, it's the ballot.
I'm begging you that when this is over, when it dies down, that we don't stop the fight. It needs to go with legislation.
Who or what events motivated you to join the movement?
Watching Derek Chauvin with his knee pressed against Floyd's neck as Floyd pleaded for his life, I knew that 40 years from now, I would have to look back at this time and say that I seized this moment and that I partook in the movement, did not allow myself to sit by idly and let others advocate and fight for the change that I want to see in the world, that I want to see in my country.
Black lives matter! Black lives matter! Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
They're killing us out here, and I'm tired of it. That's why you see this anger, because we're tired of it. We're tired of it.
Enough is enough. Like, enough is enough. Why did Eric Gardner and George Floyd die saying the exact same thing? We don't get to say that we are the land of the free and the home of the brave and that all men are created equal and that there's liberty and justice for all if people's experiences as an American tell them that that is not true.
Black people have had enough, and you shouldn't tell people that you've wronged how to express the fact that you've wronged them. We don't need to riot at all. It gets nothing done. We tried it in the 60s. We are not that far removed. So we don't loot, we contribute. We don't destroy, we build.
We're going to walk together. We're going to stand together. We're going to sing together. We're going to stay together. We're going to moan together. We're going to groan together. And after a while, we'll say, freedom, freedom, freedom now!
What is the most significant change you'd like to see in the United States, socially, educationally, economically?
I would like to see opportunity be offered for all, because opportunities are not really and readily available to everyone.
We should have equity, that every child, regardless of their zip code, where they live, they should be receiving a quality and an excellent education.
I want Black history to be inextricably tied to American history and taught as such within our schools. It requires all of us to be a part of this movement, advocating for change, demanding it.
I'm hoping that people pivot in a direction of wanting to learn more and be more involved and be at the table when decisions get made.
We have to be armed correctly, and it doesn't mean that we're armed with a weapon. It means we're armed with information.
In order to really be able to make change and be a part of change, one must make a change.
I shouldn't fear my life as a 20-year-old. And I'm tired of being scared. I'm tired of living in fear for my life. I'm tired of leaving the house and my mother texting me, be safe. I don't want you to end up dead.
If you could say anything to the young activists today, what would you say to them?
This is your time. This is your challenge. And this is not the time to be silent or scared. This is the time to be vocal and brave. The older generations need you.
We have to work at it. And it's continuously. You don't do this overnight.
I would simply like to say that I think this has been one of the great days of America. One of the greatest, if not the greatest, demonstrations for freedom and human dignity ever held in the United States.
Single one of you who's not African American for joining us, because that matters!
The day-to-day job of fighting discrimination in education, in housing, in employment, in public accommodations. And I think this is the true significance of what we have started today.
240 years from now, I don't want these systems to still be around. I don't want my children to have to experience it. And if my children are forced to, I don't want their children to have to. It is the hopes and dreams of hundreds of thousands and millions will not settle for the status quo any longer.